Hey guys, welcome back. I know it's been like, I don't know, not a full week since I've posted, but it's been a couple days since I've posted. And for a minute there, I was posting like every single day. But unfortunately, a lot of my plans got messed up this past weekend because we had an insane storm that knocked out both our power and then our internet. And we didn't get internet back for like 3 days, which sucks. So I've basically been a peasant without internet for a while, and then also I was waiting on this bad boy to come in. Anyone that's been watching my videos knows that probably the most obvious place I can improve is the audio quality, so I'm hoping now that I have a proper mic that you guys can understand me a lot better and that I come off a lot more clear. Anyways, getting all of that out of the way, I'm back now, and I decided to make a quick version of my Should You Summon for this weekend's banners. So we have two banners that I want to talk about. First, I'll talk about the Ancient Summoning banner, which is going to be a brand new hero, Ingrid, in Thallen. So Thallen is a really good AoE fighter. He looks like he's like Valk's brother or something. This guy Thallen is really, really good. You probably don't see him or hear about him a lot because he's so rare as an Ancient exclusive, but yeah, he does really, really good AoE damage. You can see that he's very strong, right? I've personally seen him a lot in AoE Arena, I feel like. But yeah, he's useful anywhere that you really need AoE magic damage, so kind of like the same role, I guess, as a Valk or something, but very strong. But really why people are summoning is going to be for Ingrid. So Ingrid is a new Lego Watcher Lord, also an Arbiter, which is really, really cool. I think it's the first hero that's been like this that's a Lord. I'm not going to go super into detail on her kit. There are a lot of videos and testings and stuff, especially war guides. If you guys are subscribed to him, I would recommend him. He does a lot of great testing videos, and he's done some tests. She's going to be very good. One of the best heroes in the game. Praetus might still be better, but if she's not better than Praetus, she's second best, probably, is what it looks like from tests. Should you summon, in my opinion, for her, it's very easy for her in Thallen. The reason it's easy is because pretty much everyone went all in on Praetus last weekend, so you probably don't have that many Ancients anyways, and it's worth the Hail Mary shot, I would say, to go for it. I don't feel like there's any reason to save the 1 week's worth of summons. It's a really good banner. So I'm gonna go for it. I have like 20 summons. I'm just gonna see what happens. And yeah, I would suggest most people just go for it. But yeah, there's also rumors that there's gonna be a Nightmare Lord / Chaotic coming out soon as well. So yeah, power creep is going to be real, I think, in the next 6 months or so. The more interesting banner to me, though, and the one that I'm actually more excited about than Ingrid, is this Hatssut Glacius banner. So when it comes to should you summon on this, I think it's really simple. If you do not have Hatssut, you summon on this banner. If you do have Hatssut, unless you really want Glacius, I would sit this banner out because you don't really need to care about pulling extra copies of Hatssut. She doesn't have the craziest awakenings in the game, so I don't think it's worth the resources to go for copies of Hatssut. If you really want Glacius, by all means go for it. Glacius looks really good. He doesn't look broken, but he's certainly not bad. He's a very good single target burst damage dealer. So really quick, let's just talk about Glacius since he's new. So he is a northern mage. He is the eldest ice elemental, and he predates the very cradle of human civilization. I mean, that's pretty cool. So, okay, so let's read his talent here. So his basic attack inflicts slow upon hit with a 20% chance to additionally inflict freeze. So slow upon hit, and then a 20% chance to freeze, and then he deals 20% increased damage to targets inflicted with slow and 20% increased damage to targets inflicted with freeze. So he has this CC that he puts out, and then he does more damage to those enemies as well. And so that's pretty cool, right? Really good synergy with the northern faction with all the freezes. And then he has a lot of synergy also with the northern faction because of how he works with shields. So his passive, he gains a shield equal to 20% of max HP every 30 seconds that lasts 10 seconds every time he takes damage. it reduces the cooldown of this passive by 1 second up to 12 seconds. When you activate his ult, which we'll take a look at in a second, the effect triggers immediately and increases the shield strength to 40. And you can see that when you have him skilled up, that shield strength goes up to 60%. Now, there are a couple of reasons why this shield passive is so nasty on Glacius. So first of all, it makes him a lot more survivable. And as a mage, that's pretty cool that there's some survivability built into his kit. But the other reason it's really sick is because it complements his ult super well. So his ult, when activated, increases his attack range and turns basic attack into 3 consecutive strikes. So he's a multi-hitter, with each strike dealing 90% damage to random enemies in range. For every 1% max HP of shield strength owned, increases damage by 1% up to 100%. So yeah, so he's putting a beefy shield on himself, but you can stack the shields he puts on himself with other heroes, right? So if you're running him with like a Northern Lord, like you can stack those shields, or with a Gwendolyn or something that puts shields on. Any hero that helps adding shields is going to just make him nasty and do really, really good damage. So I think he's going to be a great single target option. Like, he's not going to be broken best hero in the game, but he's going to be very strong. I'm not going to go out of my way to pull for him on this banner. I'm pulling regardless because I want Hatssut, but I won't be mad if I pull him as long as I also get Hatssut. Let's make that clear. I don't only want Glacius. And then the final thing we can talk about is his other passive, which I think is just kind of funny. So one, we talked about this earlier, he has freeze immunity. He also deals 60% extra damage to enemies inflicted with freeze. Now, if the target is immune to freeze, then he puts this Eye of Winter on them for 3 seconds. Glacius regards this target as inflicted with freeze. So it's like, if you're inflicted with freeze, I'm going to do more damage to you. But if you're immune to freeze, then I'm still going to do more damage to you. That's pretty savage. So overall, I think, like I said, I think he's going to be very, very strong. And he's going to make Northern comps a lot more, I don't want to say meta. I don't think he's going to be shifting any metas, but more viable, 100%. So War Guys actually did a really cool video testing him in Guild Boss that I watched, and he does really good damage. So if you're early game especially, and you don't have a ton of, like, you don't have a super meta Nightmare team or a Piercer team or an Infernal team or something like that, he could definitely do work for you in Guild Boss. And on top of the really good single target damage he does, he also has crowd control. So he can be useful as a CC hero as well, and he's immune to freeze. So there's not really a ton of content that's useful yet, but with the multiple heroes they've released recently that are immune to freeze, you can assume that they're probably going to come out with more stuff where that's useful soon. But now let's talk about why I'm excited to summon and why I am about to go all in on this banner if I have to. And it's going to be for Hatssut. So, like I said, if you do not have Hatssut, you know the pain and suffering that I'm experiencing. If you have Hatssut out there, I feel like you don't understand how difficult it is for us non-Hatssut owners, okay? Not every piece, there's so much content that is like way easier with Hatssut. The biggest thing I want her for is for Gear Dungeon 2. She is like by far the best option for the top in Gear Dungeon 2 to take care of those multiplying ads. If you don't have Hatssut, it just becomes such a pain in the ass to beat like the top stages. I'm really struggling. I want Hatssut mainly for that. I also want her because I am so tired of getting my cheeks clapped by her in anti-air arena. Like, dude, she's in every single meta team in anti-air arena, and she's so hard to come up against. And so I really want her so I can abuse that and have a chance in arena, because it is by far my weakest, I think. But in all honesty,
wow,
if you look at her reviews, you can see that she's good literally everywhere. Like Void Rift, she's good in GVG, She's good in arena. Who cares about Tide, Gold Raid, all that kind of stuff. Gear Raid 3, she's amazing. If you have not beat Gear Raid 3 yet, she's the best option on the right side. If you don't have Hatssut, you've probably used someone like Alora, like I did, but Hatssut is a way better option there. She has the same invisibility when you first place her, but she also has that crazy AoE damage dealing ultimate that you can use that is just like nothing else in the game. You can see she's good for the other Gear Raids too. I wouldn't use her in Gear Raid 1. I don't know why she's rated 4.9, maybe for the lower stages, but for Gear Raid 2, she's also an amazing option if you use the Volca strat, like what I use. But yeah, overall, she is arguably one of the best heroes in the entire game. I think you could make a very strong argument that she is the best hero in the entire game that you can get from normal summons. Her rarity certainly reflects that. She is rarer than lords in this game from normal summons. The only two heroes in the entire game that are rarer than she is are Leia and Morrigan. So from normal summons, of course. So she's extremely rare. This, if you don't have Hatssut, this is your best chance to get her, which is why you absolutely should pull on this banner if you don't have her. I don't care if you're early game, if you're late game, you pull for her. She is probably the most versatile unit in the entire game, as in you could use her in so many different areas, mainly because of how strong she is, how good her AoE ult is, and then her low cost. She's so good. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Just to kind of recap everything, if you have Hatssut and you're not really hurting for single target, strong damage dealers, and you're more late game, maybe you don't want to summon on this banner. If you do not have Hatssut, period, no matter where you're at in the game, you need to summon on this banner, okay? For the Ingrid Thallen banner, I think you can save if you want, but my take on that is almost like, why not? I haven't saved that many summons anyways. I just went all in last weekend. Most people went all in on Praetus. You've probably not saved up many, maybe 20 max, so why not just take a chance at Ingrid? That's my thought on it. If you enjoyed the video, please click the like button. It helps me out a ton. And if you enjoy hanging out with me, feel free to subscribe. I really appreciate your support. But until next time, see ya.